It's Halloween 2009. I was dating my now husband at the time, and we had just gone to Costco to get one of those giant bags of mini candy bars. You know, the ones that have like Snickers and Reese's peanut butter cups and Kit Kats and Milky Ways all mixed together. Yum. Candy bars were definitely not a regular in my diet. I never ate them. I never thought about them. I never had them in my house. I never actively felt deprived from them. They just weren't a part of my life. But this time, it felt different. Now we had this magical jumbo bag filled with all of my old favorite chocolatey candies from when I was a kid, sitting in my house right there in plain view. All of a sudden, I wanted that candy so badly. Like, not just like a couple pieces, like all the candy. I felt wrong feeling this way though. I felt like I didn't, want my boyfriend to see me eat it because then he would judge me or think less of me, or that I was fat for doing so, or that I would judge myself or think less about myself, call myself fat, tell myself that I had bad willpower, that it wasn't my fault, that I was out of control, that I was a failure for caving even though I knew better, right? So what did I do in that situation? I waited until my boyfriend left the room. Maybe he went to the bathroom or something. I ran over to the candy. I was standing up in the corner of the room, and I secretly binged on as much candy as I could unwrap and shovel in my face as humanly possible. All of this while keeping an ear out so I could hear him coming, so that I could quickly stop, hide the evidence, and get back to where I was sitting, probably watching TV. I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed, I felt weak, and I felt confused. Have you ever been there? Have you ever ate a ton of food super quickly, felt out of control, like you know better, so why the heck am I even doing this? In this scenario, I knew that I shouldn't be eating candy and sugar. That's what I told myself, right? So being mindful to me of foods that I shouldn't be eating was not a diet. I didn't think I was on a diet. It was just my way of making sure that I ate in a way to help me lose weight and maintain weight, or so I thought. This Halloween binge, though, brought on lots of questions for me that I had never thought about before. So I actually asked myself, why am I doing this? I'm a smart girl. I know better, right? Why did I even care what he thought? Did I even care what he thought? Or was it more on me and in my head and how I judged myself? This type of binging behavior continued to go on with that bag of candy and had been going on in my life up until that moment, but I had never really stopped to think or question it before. I did start to realize, though, when my boyfriend started getting suspicious at how the bag of candy that we had was mysteriously emptying, that my deprive then binge cycle way of eating, I guess, was not okay. And it was not something that I wanted to keep doing. I realized eventually, anyway, that it was a form of self-sabotage. It was like a grenade that would suddenly explode in my life. I had been kind of stuck on this deprivation-based mentality for so many years at that point. I didn't even realize that, this was a problem until years later. I had a vision at how I was supposed to eat, and I felt like I had to control myself around food, and that was the best way I knew how to do it. That mental restriction, some of it coming from my conscious brain, some coming from my subconscious brain, was engraved into me through past diets that I had been on, through diets that I kind of made up myself based on what I thought I should be eating, and based on what I saw and heard about in magazines and on TV and online. It was kind of like dieting PTSD. Even though I wasn't actively following anything at the moment, all those like deep-rooted rules were kind of still in the back of my mind, making me feel guilty. The solution to beating this restrict binge cycle is not about learning how to restrict better or have more willpower. Let me repeat that. The solution to beating this restrict binge cycle is not about learning how to restrict better or have more willpower. To break free from this, start by asking yourself the types of questions that I talked about earlier to dig deep and find the root cause on why you're binging to begin with. And this can be different for everybody. Keep in mind that even though I had a problem with food for a very long time, To me, this was normal. This is just how everyone lived. I knew so many people that had this exact same problem. In this day and age, it's kind of weird if you're not restricting yourself from something. But once I did start realizing what was going on, I could work to overcome it. So overcoming it, to me, looks like developing a healthy relationship with food and with my body, since my body is really what made me so crazy around food to begin with, so I could look a certain way, that I didn't want the secret binge eating to be a part of that healthy relationship, because that wouldn't have been healthy. So first, start questioning all of your food choices. I became really aware of all those little subconscious and conscious rules that I had for myself around food. Those things that I shouldn't eat. Those things that I eat and then feel crappy about myself after eating. Those foods that I felt out of control around. Awareness is the first step. From there, I removed those good food, bad food, should, shouldn't labels, because with labels comes judgment, guilt, and in many times, more binge eating. The more you tell yourself you can't or you shouldn't have something, the more you want it in a crazy way. It all ties back to your body's basic biology. All that does is put foods up on a pedestal and give them power over you. So this legalizing food step is definitely really important. You'll start to see food as just food by leveling the playing field, and it will naturally take that lure that food has over you away. I also continue to dig deep and see what else might be causing my binges. For example, was I not eating enough food during the day? Was I not eating enough of the major nutrient groups, like healthy fats, carbs, proteins? Did I have deep-seated limiting beliefs holding me back and sabotaging my best efforts? And it turns out a big fat yes to every single one of those, plus more. And this portion right here is so mega important, because if I didn't overcome this and silence my body's natural biological needs first, nothing else I would have done would have worked. I wouldn't have been seeing the lasting results that I have been enjoying for many, many years if I didn't do that deep work to begin with, which is what I am so passionate about helping my clients work through, because I know that that is the missing key to lasting success and looking and feeling as amazing as you want. Keep in mind that we often think of binges that represents, failure on our part, that we're weak and just need more willpower instead. So instead, I want you to think of binges as a sign that your body is trying to tell you something. Also, instead, realize what you might be thinking of as success in this scenario, the act of restricting, is actually the primary cause that might be causing your binging behavior to begin with. So if this is something that you struggle with, and if you'd like some help ditching your, deep-seated mental restrictions and developing a healthier relationship with food in your body, I would absolutely love to help you with that. Comment below, shoot me a message if you want to book a free consultation, if you want to learn more about me, my style, this topic, or other related topics. Definitely head over to my blog, healthyeaton.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon.